how to supercharge your marketing and business growth.
That's me.
Great.
A poor use of adjectives is not a good thing in marketing. You have to be comfortable with a good adjective in marketing.
Yeah.
No prizes for.
Is it on pre-fade then? What's it doing on the monitor on the desk? Is that going up and down while I'm talking? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is it going up? Is it? Huh? 8, 9, 10. All right then. Dear. Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live. Great to have your company with us as always. It is edition number 61. Another night, another dollar, another great show. If you're a small to medium scale enterprise, a small business, if you're out there, it's a tough world out there at the moment for businesses. There's a lot of people though that are out there trying to give you a helping hand, trying to give you the advice that you need to make absolutely certain that your business is going to succeed. And that's what tonight is all about. Because one of the things that you want to do is you want to achieve sales. And one way to do that is to tell people that you're actually there. Also, another thing that maybe your small business is looking for is a little bit of help when it comes to the finances, to the funding of your business. So how do you go about doing the fundamentals these days? How do you go about maybe supercharging your marketing? How do you go about supercharging your business for growth? Who do you turn to? Who do you talk to? And what can you do to make certain that your business is going to be a huge success? My guest tonight is Vanessa Lanham-Day, and she's here to tell you how you can supercharge your marketing and your business growth all in the next 60 minutes. It's a tall order, but I think this is one lady that's going to be able to do that. Hi, Vanessa.
I will do my very best. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you with us. I mean, for those people that don't know who Vanessa is, I mean, you've been on the programme once before, but for those that have missed that momentous occasion, tell us a little bit about you. What are you up to?
Well, I describe myself as a marketing inspirer, a mentor and coach, but I mean, that's really the culmination of 27 years now of running my own business. So, you know, I do know what it's like to be on the other side. I've been through 2 recessions, so hopefully that's no mean feat. But, you know, I've understood in all of those years the stuff that I do best, and I'm absolutely passionate about working with small and medium-sized business owners. When it's the business owner that's doing the stuff on their own and that they need some direction and help, and I love doing that.
What do you think it is that stands you apart then from other consultants? Because a lot of people say about consultants that come into businesses that they tend to come in, they tell you what you already know. And really, this is the area that people don't really understand, isn't it? About how they go about marketing. A lot of people get marketing and sales confused, don't
Yeah,
they?
absolutely. And we're going to be talking a bit about that very thing a bit later. I think, again, over the years, I've been around, 27 years. You learn what you do well and how you do it and what differentiates you. And I think a lot of marketing and salespeople can be very dry and it's all very factual. You get lots of reports and stuff. But actually, that's not, business owners don't want reports. They haven't got time to read them. And the two things that I talk about doing, one is inspiring people, because you need to get their passion back. You need to get them energised and enthusiastic about doing this stuff. They love doing their thing. They love their hairdressing or their building or their electrician's work or being a chiropractor. The marketing stuff is something they're not so good about. So if you can get them passionate about it, remind them about what the big dream was, why the hell they were doing this stuff, you can get them really engaged. But the other part is all about empowering them. I talk about my coaching style, I say, is a combination of kid gloves and a pointed stick. and the reality is you need both of those things in equal measure, because it's lonely out there and people get fed up on their own, but they do need a bit of a chivvy at times. And I am the woman to do it.
You're the one to do it, I'm sure you are. When
am.
you give that little bit of a chivvy, what do you think it is? What's the thing that makes you do that the most? What are the mistakes that you come across on a regular basis? Because nobody's ever reinvented the wheel. The wheel's been invented. We all seem to make the same mistakes over and over again, and it seems to be each organisation, each business that you go into, you will find the same mistakes have been made time and time again.
I mean, you said earlier about that there's nothing new, and in truth there isn't anything new. And I think people are often looking for the silver bullet. What's the next big thing that's going to change everything? And and the best news I can give them that there isn't one. It's about applying the fundamentals. And I've worked with hundreds of business owners over the years, and consistently they ignore the fundamentals. That they're hoping that some new shiny object over there is going to solve the problems, and they aren't addressing the basics. And so I was hoping today we can just remind them a few of what those basics are. And in addition to the stuff, hopefully we'll talk about it in a moment, procrastination, getting people to do the stuff. They'll know it and they go, yeah, I need to do that, but they get sucked back into their business, doing their stuff and finding time to commit to working on their business, making some marketing and business growth happen can be tough for people.
I remember when I was taking piano lessons 1,000 years ago, and I was actually an adult for that matter, taking piano lessons, and I would hide behind the window because I hadn't done the work that the tutor had told me to do the previous week. So he would come to the door and I'd be hiding behind the curtains and I wouldn't let him in because I knew I hadn't achieved it. Do you find how awful is that? Do you find the same kind of thing when you're going in to businesses that you're saying, look, you need to do this? And then when you go back,
and often it's about breaking it down for them, because there's no point just telling people you need to change your website, you need to start doing email marketing, because standing in the way is all sorts of challenges and barriers. People have hang-ups about technology. They're not very good at this. They don't know how to export it from this to that, and everything grinds to a halt. So sometimes you have to go in on quite a granular basis and break it down for them, because it can often be something quite simple that will completely derail them. And you get them through that and you start to see them getting some success, and the momentum builds after that. So often it can be quite detailed hand-holding just to get them to step away from their normal habits and try some new stuff.
Now, you actually give quite a lot of support both online and face-to-face, don't you?
I do,
If people, because really what we're trying to do at the moment is build a bit of a picture about Vanessa. And so if people want to find out a little bit about because it's quite diverse, it's quite broad, the kind of work that you do for different people. We're going to be talking about marketing. We're going to be talking about funding in just a moment,
indeed, yep.
which is really very important. Also, we're going to be talking about funnels, and people don't get how funnels work, do they?
Absolutely not. So I think that the two areas I think the most useful things I can do for business owners tonight will be to talk about two things. Firstly, the concept of market, message and media, and we'll come on to that in a moment. And the other thing is about understanding their marketing funnel. So if it's okay with you, can we start with the market, message, media piece, if that's okay? Because that's your starting point. So in truth, most people think about media first. So as a marketing consultant, how many times have people come to me and said, I need a brochure, I need to fix my website, I need to do some advertising. So that's media. They're thinking media first of all. And that's the wrong approach to have. And what people, I always ask people, who are you selling to? Who are your customers? And you'll get a reply like small business owners. or anyone aged, the therapists in particular are good with this one, anyone from 18 to 80. That's just not helpful. You cannot usefully sell to people aged 18 to 80. So we have to start breaking it down and say, so for example, let's think about a chiropractor, for example. So a chiropractor is going to be talking to people in back pain. Now, who typically has back pain? Well, maybe they are going to be a bit older. So we've got perhaps, and they're not going to travel miles, so we're talking about people who perhaps live within a 5 to 10 mile radius of where their practice is, that possibly are perhaps over 50 or whatever their demographic may be, that they may be perhaps more sedentary than they ought to be. And you can start to really drill it down to quite a detailed level of how old might they be, what sort of places, because even if you may have backache, you may not have the money to spend on a chiropractor. So that now starts to say, if I'm going to do a door-to-door mail shot, that these houses probably aren't a good place to go, but these houses are. So when you start to know who your customer is, how old are they like to be married with children, which school are the children going to, what TV programmes might they be watching, what places, what shops are they a Waitrose kind of a person, or are we shopping in Aldi? When you start to have that level of detail, because if that person sat in front of you, you'd know how to converse with them. You'd measure.
Well, let me put you on the spot for a moment. Let me put you on the spot then. If we're doing that for a chiropractor, what about for yourself, for a business like yours? Just describe to me the profile of your target audience.
Right, the people I need to speak to, firstly, their chances are they will be within easy reach of Surrey, because a lot of my stuff is face-to-face. In truth, I do work with people further afield, so I've probably got a 50-mile radius to start with. The chances, well, there'll be a small to medium-sized business owner. They will have the responsibility for marketing, so they won't have grown to a size where they've got 3 other people doing this for them. They've still got the responsibility. So as well as doing their thing, they also have this other responsibility. So the chances are they're quite stressed about that. So I know quite a lot about how they're feeling about their business and their growth. I'll know the kinds of dreams they have. Typically the things I hear all the time, that people leave their job, say as a chiropractor or as a marketer, as I was back in when I started, is that they want to earn more money, that they want to work less hours, and they want to spend more time with their families or achieving those big dreams. That's the picture you get. The reality is, after a few years, most people are earning less money, working longer hours and spending less time. So I know a lot about the pictures in my target customers' heads, and I know the reality for them is a very different thing. And that then starts to help me understand the message, because people aren't buying marketing advice from me. They're buying expertise. They're buying my enthusiasm, my energy, my hand-holding, the fact that I make them feel safe. I could name 100 things they buy from me that will come ahead of marketing knowledge. Mm-hmm. Because it's by understanding genuinely who your customer is and what's keeping them awake at night. And for business owners, what's keeping them awake at night is the mortgage, and are they going to be able to send the kids to school, and have they ever had the dream holiday, or have they even had a holiday for 3 years? That's what's keeping them awake.
But when you walk in the door, and you're saying here, there's a lot of soft skills that are taking place here. So you walk in the door, do you find yourself going through the same processes time and time again? Okay, slight variation because each business is going to be slightly different because of the product, but fundamentally they're all doing the same thing. Yeah, if they follow what you're saying, they're identifying who their audience is, and they're getting out there and trying to sell them.
But when you know who your audience is, you can then really begin to get to grips with uniquely what have I got to say to them? What is it that makes the difference, that I make a difference in their life, and say that will so often not be putting your back right, or in the case of a chiropractor, yes, of course, easing the back pain is one of the things, but it'll be one of many of the things that you are able to deliver to them in the moment. So by knowing who you're talking to, you can really understand what you do, and only at that point you think, well, on that basis, so I'm talking to, in my case, business owners in Surrey that are feeling these things, that are stressed about the fact they can't grow their business, they're frustrated, blah, blah. When I know that, and it's kind of, well, where am I going to find those people? Because I won't find them everywhere. Are they, some people, perhaps I'll find them in networking meetings. For me, those business owners are probably a bit on the small side. There's lots of, will they be hanging out on LinkedIn? Yes, actually, there's a really good chance they are. Facebook, you know, is where business owners hang out a lot of the time, because it's a community and people want to feel less lonely. So once you understand who you're talking to and the issues they've got, then you can identify where. And when you know that, then you can start being really smart with your marketing. I mean, this morning on my way into work, I filled up with petrol, and there on the nozzle is nozzle advertising. I thought, well, that's perfect, isn't it? For some people, that's the right media. It ain't right for everybody. But let's say you're targeting, you know, salespeople on the road. Nozzle advertising
is going to be the business, isn't
exactly. So you have to know the who first. Market, message, media. Far too many people start media first, and they waste their money, and they get frustrated they're not getting the results they want because they're just in the wrong place.
They just don't understand who their target audience is.
And people go, oh yeah, I get that whole thing about needing to know my customer, but they are cursory about it. You genuinely have to know. You have to give them a name. You have to know what their husband does. You know, where does he work? What kind of cars do they drive? Where do they go on their holidays? Where do they shop? What are they going to be doing this Christmas? Yes, it's a bit of a fantasy, but you're building a real person. Then when you sit down and you write your sales letters, you're talking to a person. And it makes all the difference.
I mean, we went through the exercise here, actually, of looking at who you are, who our target audience is. And from our point of view, that actually allows us to understand exactly where the programme should be going, the kind of guests that we should be getting on the programme. And we looked at everything from their location. Oh, okay, yes, we kind of sort of say, yes, it's UK-wide. Strange enough, we get a lot of viewers in China. Don't know why, but hi. But the thing is, you know, that you're actually looking at a very diverse range of people, but we're looking at small to medium scale SMEs. We're looking at, so what's the profile of the person that runs that? Is it somebody that likes maybe playing a little bit of golf? You know, where are they in their demographic? And it's interesting, if you go back to the likes of radio stations, they all know who their demographic is. They know who they're targeting. Different radio stations are attracting a different audience because they are producing programming specifically for that audience. If you're here in London, you've got KISS, which is for the down funky kids. One time a matinee was happening. So you've got KISS, you're looking at Capital, which is all pop music radio. You're looking at Heart, which is for a slightly older audience once again. So each of those different demographics have been super served by understanding who their audience is and who they are targeting.
Yeah, and it will impact on the competitions that they run, the kind of features, the guests, the music. It will impact everything, and it's a very good metaphor, in fact. And the important thing to remember, it's possible to have more than one target audience. It could be for the same product. So again, back to our chiropractor, chiropractors I use, that they specialise in working with kids. So one of their avatars, and mums with newborns. So that for them is another target, an avatar, so your target customer. So they may have 2, 3 or 4. I would genuinely caution against having 9 or 10, because that's going to be really hard for you. But going back to media, so for some people, the website is the hub of a lot of marketing these days, and the mistake they make is they have 2 or 3 diverse audiences, and they're trying to serve them all from the same website. So again, by understanding who your audience is, you go, well, actually, if they're completely different, with different needs, different message, actually, we need 2 websites.
Before we have a bit of a reminder, actually, about what happened in last week's show, because we talked a little bit about websites. We had Angus Grady in. If we go back to one of the earlier programs, we had a guy called Paul Imrie who came in, and I thought the program was going to be about how to design and build a website. And actually, what he did, it was a night of marketing, how you construct your website. And one of the most important things that he came up with, a company or a client that he was working with, what they did, if you were a builder, you had one site that you went to. It was a completely different character to the end user site. Yeah. And there were 2 sites, they're both the same business, but one took you one direction.
And if you're talking to websites for builders, what kind of language are you going to use? Because
steady.
They're not in the office every day on the computer, are they? By definition of what they're doing, this is something they're doing at evening or weekends. Then they're not going to be so skilled. Yep. So you just would talk to them differently. But if you're doing websites for IT consultants, how can you possibly serve those 2 markets with the same website? It's just not going to work. And those builders go, well, why wouldn't I want to go to the people who specialise in doing websites for builders? They're for me.
I think we're going to hear Angus in just a moment describe what the perfect website should be. And just to remind you what happened on last week's program, we had Angus Grady of Customised Media. He came in and he was talking about, well, all sorts of different things, but how to stay on top of your LinkedIn profile, how to use LinkedIn more effectively for your business, how you can maybe manage and also maybe use Hootsuite as well to get your Twitters out there. There was a bit of social media, there was a little bit about LinkedIn, and there was also a little bit about the basic place where you should be starting when it comes to setting up your website as well. I mean, what's the point in going to your website if there's nothing for anybody to do, or if it's of no interest for them? Maybe great for you if I see another website that says we've been established since 1963, we've got 400 vehicles, 500 people working for us. I don't care. I really don't care. I just want to know if, when I put that search into my search engine, I said, do you make widgets, that you're the people that make widgets. I don't care about you. I care about me. So just remember that for a moment. Let's have a bit of a look back at last week's programme. Angus Grady on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. My guest on tonight's programme is Angus Grady of Custom Eyes Media. And we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. Let's just say it a few times so that we really get it into our head. LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. It could be, and probably is, one of the most powerful tools that you as a small to medium scale enterprise, a small business actually has to exploit and to use.
There are kind of two aspects to this. You can either go prospecting, where you're not spending any money to actually buy ads like for Google AdWords or for Facebook advertising, or for advertising here on like LinkedIn. So there's prospecting, where it's kind of essentially free, it's your time, that's not free, but or you actually go and buy those ads. And I think that the great thing about LinkedIn, you can spend money on LinkedIn, for instance, but you can also do an awful lot of prospecting across social media where you kind of interrogate the noise. It's not about broadcasting often, it's about listening. And on the back of my business card I've got a great thing. It says that no man ever listened himself out of a job.
This is your profile.
This is my profile, and I've optimized it, which means that I've got keywords running through the sort of headline area here. And basically those are what people will be searching for. That's a key area to be searching. So I do LinkedIn training, I do social selling, I help people to use things like LinkedIn, the internet, and also all social media to generate source leads, for lead generation, to source leads, people and opportunities. People are coming to your website looking for a solution. They've already asked Google the question, and they've come up with some options. So Google comes up with some options, and one of them might be my website. They might go to that. They might look to see, does it answer my question? Does it solve my pain? Your website should be like a Venus flytrap. It should be a Venus flytrap for leads. You get to your site, and if there's not an opt-in form, you're wasting your time. So basically, this is about your value proposition, about what you do, what pain you solve, how you address things, what you do essentially for people. And what people tend to do down the bottom here is they tend to put a whole load of specialities, and it will go social media. So they'll keep slightly different phrases but saying exactly the same thing. But the more powerful way is to build a stronger, more compelling narrative, almost a story of what you've done and why what your background was. In mine, I've mentioned about my sort of background in advertising. The rest of the power of LinkedIn is about searching, and it's about knowing what to do with your connections. Most people, as I said, they have like connections, but what they do is they don't do anything with them. And you can do something called tagging. Mm-hmm. Which means that you can create tags. I think that the key thing to take away from tonight is the fact that get your profile fully optimized. Your headline, your sort of summary area, put some rich sort of media in there. Make sure you've got a clear call to action in your experience section as well. Make sure that you use your keywords in there as well. Try to remember to tag people. Because that's a great way of sort of communicating with people. And social selling is about engagement. It's about building relationships. We're no longer in the cold calling phase. We've got to think about how we can then take that relationship offline. So you get a meeting and build connections, but build them sensibly, and build them with sort of politeness and you know, try and think about what you would like to receive as an invitation. Use your groups, make sure your company page is set up, and link your personal profile to your company page. A must do that we didn't have the chance to do. I think that technology kind of got in the way a little bit there, but I mean, yeah, those are the key takeouts. And of course, contact me, connect with me. Just go into my profile, send me a connection, and just say that you watched the programme tonight, and happy to connect. And anything I can do to help, my phone number's on there, my Twitter address is on there, please feel free to get in contact.
We had some people say to us that we were twins separated at birth. Fantastic guy, Angus Grady. Great show last week. If you haven't had an opportunity to actually see the entire show, well, then I suggest you go and have a look at it. It was a fantastic night. We were looking at LinkedIn, setting up your profile, but there was a load of other great information in there as well. If you kind of sometimes look at your website and you think to yourself, is this working for me? Is it right for me? It gave you an opportunity on last week's programme to stand back from them. And it's interesting, all the things that Angus was actually saying on the show. I'm looking here at Vanessa's website, and Vanessa's website actually carries a lot of that through. You can see here that with, big headline, it's actually telling you what this website is all about. How to supercharge your marketing and business growth in 2014 and get £2,000 from the government to help you do it. A great video there that leads you in, it pulls you in, it gives you all the information you got. You cannot miss the fact that we're talking about a substantial amount of money. But how do you get the money? Well, guess what you fill in? It's all sitting over here. Fill that in. And of course, now you're on the route. You've actually started something. You've come to the website. As Angus said, there's no point having people come to a web page if there's nothing there for them to do. And here at Vanessa's web page, that's exactly what they're doing. And of course, that's your thinking, isn't it?
Well, exactly that. So going back to market message media, now who are my business owners? Well, one of the things I know about business owners is they're struggling always for money. So someone's offering them some free money. This is really good news. So the government has chosen to keep this.
Let's look at that again.
Something of a secret, it has to be said. So I'm on a kind of one-woman mission to demystify it. So, I do a lot of advertising. Facebook is really big for me on this. I draw them into that. But in order for them to find out more, they have to share their details with me. Because only when they've done that, I can now start talking to them. Having people come to my website when they've got no idea, I've got no idea who they are, is pointless to me. So it's about, exactly, you use the word Venus flytrap. So this is what's known as a lead capture mechanism. This isn't actually my website, this is what's known as a squeeze page.
Righto.
So the purpose is to squeeze their information into my funnel. We're going to talk about funnels in a moment. But the reason it's called a squeeze page is that they only have two choices here. Their choices, they either do this, they either fill in my form, or they don't. They can't navigate somewhere else. They can't go.
I did notice that. There's absolutely no navigation anywhere else on this page, is there?
So that they can read it. They either do that thing or they go. There is nothing else, because they're of no use to me until they're in my funnel. So we're going to talk about funnels now. But that's what's known as a squeeze page. But it's exactly what you were saying about a Venus flytrap.
Now, just before we move on from that, then, looking at that kind of web page. That kind of web page is synonymous with internet marketing, isn't it? Internet marketeers. It's nearly the long form page. Does that still work for businesses? That long form, or is it more refined now? Is it got? Because it always felt like to me that the long form marketing page was a bit like a sledgehammer. Do it or else.
Okay, there are essentially two marketing plans, and the lead capture, as I'm showing there, is when you're looking for numbers. So if you're selling a small product and you want to sell it to a lot of people, then a squeeze page like that will you gather your numbers via your online advertising, pay-per-click, Google, Facebook, and so forth, and you're bringing them into there. So you're then capturing a number of those leads, and then you can market to them. You don't necessarily have to have all that information. In fact, it can often be distracting. A lot of squeeze pages would literally just be that top part.
Mm-hmm. Let's just look at it again. There it is. Yeah. So I can see. This is very classic. The nice thing that I like about it is it's actually been nicely designed as well, for that matter.
So what we're trying to do there. So going back to our media, we're in Facebook a lot of the time, because Facebook works really well for me. That image that we're seeing there, the check image I've had created, we use that a lot in advertising, and I know people are attracted to that, and so they will land on this page page and it will answer their question, what about this £2,000? There's a very short video, and in it I explain, if they want to know the detail about it, all they have to do is pop their name and email there for me, and they go straight through to another video. I now have their information. So for a lot of people that will work. So this isn't relevant to every single business for sure. The marketing funnel, however, is relevant to every single business. There is not a single business where at some level the funnel won't work for them.
Okay then, well let's have a look at the marketing funnel that we've got here. And this is the classic marketing funnel, isn't it? You're driving traffic, so I take it the top of it is equivalent either to your lead capture page or your screen page.
Can I have a,
yes, of course you can.
Can I play with your mouse
you play.
here, Steve? Right, so what...
Matron, you warm your hands first, mate.
So what I'm trying to say here, up here, we have this kind of a universe of unknown people. They're people, in my case, for example, business owners who really want some help with their marketing. I've no idea who they are, and they've no idea who I am. Now, I might come across them, say, at a breakfast meeting, and you know, we've all been there, haven't we? You're sat next to somebody who goes, oh, you know, marketing, and I'm radar up, and I'm pressing my business card, and oh, can I call you later? And you're thinking, you know, back off, love. You know, a bit too much. You know, it's selling. So, because what I'm trying to do there, I'm trying to take an unknown person all the way down here to the point where they become a customer, and I'm trying to miss out all the steps in between. And most of us are resistant to that.
Yes.
It's too much too soon. Now, probably, you know, one of the few exceptions to that. So let's say, for example, you're on Facebook and you've got a voucher to a restaurant, a pub just down the road, and it's offering 2 free glasses of Prosecco if you have Monday to Thursday this week. And you think, well, I like the sound of that.
I like the sound of that, yep.
You know, we keep saying we'll pop out for supper. So you download the voucher and you pop along, and you move from this unknown place to being a customer pretty quickly.
Right.
But that's not true for most businesses, and anybody in my shoes, a business consultant, where you know the sums we're talking about invoicing is, you know, going to be 4 figures or more. People aren't going to go from never having met you to spending money with you without anything in between. So in that case, what I'm trying to do here is attract people into my funnel. Now, one of these, this could well be breakfast networking.
Righto.
I get to meet people and we get on okay. You give me a business card and I say, I've got some good stuff I could send you. Is it okay if I send you some stuff? So they've opted themselves into my database. I've mentioned Facebook advertising. That could be Facebook there. That could be Google. That could be going to an exhibition and collecting business cards at your kiosk. So lots of different ways. Most people will have 2 or 3 funnels. And 2 or 3 marketing pillars. They need a dozen or more. Lots of different ways in which you're pulling people into your database, because when they're in your database, you can talk to them. That's what you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, that seems to be the biggest problem, isn't it? The fact that they don't have enough people coming into their funnel at the very beginning. Well,
and typically I say to people, what are your top 3 marketing pillars? And I'll get referrals, word of mouth, the website.
And that's it.
And that's pretty much it. So what they mean by the website is, well, we've got a website. I expect some people come to it. Word of mouth is, well, sometimes people come to us, we're not really sure where. And referral, yeah, and I'm sure the odd person does refer.
But you do get a lot of businesses who will say that they feel that the way to success is via referrals.
Yeah, one of the most
and of course
powerful leads.
And that's how networking works, isn't it?
But you need to have all these others. There's practically no business that shouldn't be using some kind of online advertising. I mean, we're all of us Googling every day. You know, we're telling people we're out there looking for them. So you know, chiropractor, Godalming, you know, if you're not up there, you know, you're going to be missing out on business.
And are we talking about AdWords? Are we talking about those, you know, using LinkedIn to LinkedIn ads as well? Are we looking at those kind of things?
I don't have a lot of success with LinkedIn advertising. It doesn't work. Facebook advertising works probably 4 or 5 times as well as Google for me. But different businesses, business consultancy is just a bit different. People don't often search for consultancy, but of course on Facebook you're not searching, you're profiling people.
Yeah.
So I'll be profiling people by, for example, the kind of books they read. So if they're picking up on business books, Michael Gerber and so forth, Napoleon Hill, if they're favouriting those kinds of books, chances are they're a business owner and they're interested in education and stretching themselves and learning about business growth. Are they going to be searching for marketing consultancy? Probably not. So Facebook's better for me because I can position my ads in front of the right people.
That's very interesting, you know, because we talk a lot about social media, and it is horses for courses, isn't it? And also, do you think it's the approach? There was a question I was going to ask you about your webpage actually as well. The linguistics that you use in your webpage, the language that you use, do you think that's important?
Oh, yeah, absolutely vital. Comes back to knowing who your audience is, because the tone. So you used the example earlier about builders versus an IT consultant. You're going to use different language. The IT consultant is going to be pretty tech savvy. You're probably going to be able to talk about cookies and back end systems. Well, the builder's not going to understand it. No reason why they should. But you're going to talk. This is going to be done for you. You're going to make it really easy. You're going to have you can talk about the kind of markets. It'll be a page for residential and a page for conversions. You're talking their language. Of course it's important. I mean, tone of voice in my site, I are very, very specific. It needs to reflect me. I do talk far too much. We've already discussed that, haven't we? Off air. But, I'm passionate and energised, and the wording on my website reflects that. I write as I speak.
Right.
Because I want people to get a sense of me, because that's what makes me different. I may not be right for everyone. I get that. I'm completely cool with that. But the language has to be right. So, and it's how you reflect your brand, isn't it? So tone of voice, really, really important.
Yeah, it's just that sometimes when you look at the linguistics that are used in long form advertising traditionally, it's the kind of tone of voice sometimes can be. I mean, we both know that there's a particular individual that we're both familiar and aware of, and the tone of voice that is used perhaps maybe in the promotion material, the long form advertising, is a particular style, isn't it?
But what people will often do, and you must see it here a lot, that people in front of a camera suddenly grow a different head, and I've got to talk in a different way.
Well, they use words. They use words
and
that they
stop
don't normally
being
use.
themselves.
Yeah.
And the tone of voice is to be your tone of voice. You can't borrow somebody else's. You have to find the right tone for you and for your audience, because you start using language that's more personal and more passionate, you just sound much more authentic.
What do you do though, Vanessa? Here we've got a marketing funnel here that we're trying to drive traffic to. We're looking at our lead bait triggers that we've got there, and we've got all our different sources coming in. But I don't feel that I have the skills to write maybe the copy for a squeeze page. I don't feel I've got the skill. I can make the product. When I've got the customer, I know I can do something with them. But just pulling them in, you've got the power of being able to write the words that are engaging me. But what about the people who don't? What do they do? Is there any suggestions for them?
Well, I think the most important job for the business owner is to understand how their marketing works. I chuckled to myself last week. I had a conversation with a connection about the growth voucher, and they'd written in the information they'd given me, said, oh, it's so frustrating. Said in the old days, all you needed to do was have your business card and an ad in the yellow pages, and your marketing was done.
Yeah.
And that is how it was. I mean, I started in '88. It was exactly. I would add you needed to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce to go to their networking meetings, and it has changed. And you could, in the old days, kind of go, oh, it's done, that's over there. You can't do that now, particularly post 2008. But if business owners want to succeed, they've got to be driving their marketing. Now, that's not the same as saying they have to do all the copywriting, they have to run all their advertising, they have to build all their bits, but they can't not be in control of that. So the most important thing that business owners can understand is how this works for them, what their funnel needs to look like. And it will be different for every business. The elements will all be there, but it will be different. They need to understand that. I mean, I was working with a chap only today. He's dyslexic and he's an electrician. He's brilliant salesman. He said, you know what, I'm terrible at writing copy, and it's been a barrier for me for months. And I've just finally decided, you know what, why don't I get in a copywriter to help me?
And the job's done then, outsource it.
And he's just opened the whole thing up, and it's just been a barrier, and he just couldn't get beyond that. And then suddenly we've got all these plans coming in because someone else is sorting that out. So you can offload it. You don't have to do it all yourself, but you do need to control it yourself. You can't get rid of that.
Do you know what's interesting is that, I mean, here we are, we're 40 minutes into the programme, and really this is real important stuff for small businesses, isn't it, to understand that. What I'd like you to do, if that's all right, let's go through our marketing fund, because I know there's still a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We've still got the money to talk about, haven't we?
Well, let me just talk you through the elements. So here,
All right.
so as I say, so up here, these are all your different pillars. And just as an example, one of the ones I use is business speaking. So I can, for example, I don't know, solicitors or the chamber will ask me to go and speak, and I always have some kind of an offer, a book that I can give them for free. And I use the telephone actually, is that they can text their information to me and they immediately get the book back. And typically I'll pick up 50.
Now, did you write the book?
Yes, I did.
You did. You
You,
did.
you can offer, you can put those
e-lance it, yeah.
Absolutely, but I write. I'm cool.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm. It's just, as a marketer, you tend to be able to, but it's just one of those things. But so I can typically pick up 50% of the room who have opted into my list just by doing a talk.
Fantastic.
But whereas if you were to go to a talk and say, "Oh, do you mind giving me your email list?" They're going to say no.
Yeah.
But to say, "Oh, can I give something of value to your audience?" Who's going to object to that?
But something for nothing, isn't it?
So there's lots of different ways. So some's advertising, some's face to face. So don't mistake this for being it's all about internet marketing, because it's not. There has to be some kind of opt-in, and that can be as simple as give me a card. Is it okay? I can send you, or it's something a bit more technical.
Now, do you use things like Aweber or MailChimp or stuff like that?
I use a system called Infusionsoft, which is a properly big grown-up CRM system.
And £400 a month.
Well, I pay a bit. I think I got in early. But I also actually recommend one called All Clients. There are lots of them. I like All Clients. It's a really simple one. To me, it has infusion-like qualities, but at a fraction of the price. But they all work in a similar way. So they're now in my system. So let's just flick over here. The base of the funnel is where people become customers, and this is where money changes hands. So that's delightful. And down here we've got high-value customers. Now, high-value customers could be people who've bought lots of your small thing, like Amazon. You could be there, you're a frequent customer, you buy lots of stuff. Or it could be they started with your small product and now they've bought your big product. So they've maybe been on your one-day course and now they've bought your mentoring
so
program.
in your particular, I was going to say that, so in your particular instance, the small products are going to be what? Are going to be...
Well, as I say, it might be a book or a one-day course or something, or a small piece of consultancy, whereas this, they might be on my mastermind program. And what happens between the moment where people spend their first money with you and when they spend big money with you? And this is all about relationship building here. People don't spend a lot of money with you unless it's about trust, value, relationship. And that's done by communication, often face-to-face. Obviously, it's a value client. You're going to be on the phone to them. You're going to be meeting them, emails, letters, Christmas cards, calendar, all that kind of stuff. That's how we build relationships. So we're all familiar with that.
I suppose if we go back to where we started on this, identifying who your customer is going to allow you to build that funnel at the very beginning, because you know who you're trying to drive in there.
Yeah.
You're not trying to sort of hoard cats, are you?
Exactly. So it can be very personal. It doesn't have to all be distant and mechanical. So that's familiar to us. So we've gone now. So we've got them in the funnel, and here's where they're customers. But the point is, from here down to there can take a lot of time. There's going to be a moment that the thing that happens immediately before they become a customer is there's some kind of a conversion. So it could be, the last time we spoke, I was here, I was running an event. So for them, they converted by coming to the event. They money changed hands and they came to the event, and there was a deadline that the only way they were going to get there, because on November 29th they started, they hadn't done it by then. So that was the offer, and so that was the moment of conversion. So there can be lots of ways. So we've got this period from when they've opted in to when they convert, and this is the bit people forget. And it's called nurture. And what we need to see is lots of little touch points happening all along the way. So for example, in my case, every week I send out a value piece of information in my blog. So it's always tips about, the moment we're talking about how to build squeeze pages, it's kind of going back to basics. So last week's was, setting up your the basics of what a squeeze page was, and this week it's specifically how to do it step by step. So every week that goes out to everybody on my list, and so that's value. So it keeps my list clean, they're constantly getting value, I'm not trying to sell them anything, so it's a positioning piece for me. I frequently do webinars. And so people who come to my webinars, a lot of people will book on, not all of them will get there, but those people who do, I've nudged a little bit closer. There's been another touch point.
For those people who don't understand webinars, just give us a...
Well, it's just an online, so I'll be talking about, so for example, it could be a book. I did a very popular webinar earlier in the year on Robert Cialdini's book called Influence, which covers the fundamentals of marketing behaviour, what makes us make decisions. So I talked about that and showed it in really simple marketing language. What does this mean for you? And I probably had 180 people booked in for that webinar, and I sit at my desk. It's a PowerPoint presentation, and I broadcast from my screen.
And
so
do you charge them to be on the webinar? It's completely for free.
So it's another piece of value. So typically, when you know, my work starts in 4 figures, and I look at people who spend that kind of money with me, and I can track how many blogs of mine they've opened, how many webinars they've been to, how many events they've been to, and that's about relationship. People don't spend, you know, into the thousands of pounds with you unless you've built that relationship. But so often what happens is they'll get the free thing, they'll meet them at an event, nothing happens, and there's this kind of hope and pray strategy. You have to keep working at it and make these little touch points all the way, and then make sure you keep putting offers in front of them, because each time you do, somebody will convert to customers. And
now,
once they've bought once, they are much more likely to buy again.
For a small business, or for someone who's starting in a business, and they're maybe tonight they're hearing about squeeze pages for the first time, they're going to be looking for some statistical feedback on this. So what kind of percentage are we talking about from if we are attracting an audience to our squeeze page? So we say we've got 100 people coming in. What can you expect to be coming out of the bottom?
Oh, well, I think that's very hard to say. It depends how targeted you are. You know, for example, you know, if you've got a Google advert for, I don't know, wooden Venetian blinds. You know, someone's Googling wooden Venetian blinds, Surrey, and you've got a landing page that it talks about wooden Venetian blinds, and it's got a 01483 number at the top, and there's a nice big call to action to help you, you know, book your appointment. You know, you're going to get a very high conversion rate to that. But if what you do is take them to your general web page where they've got to find Venetian blinds and wooden ones somewhere down, and it's not really clear whether are you in Surrey or are you nationwide, you're not going to get very good conversion. So that's
so
back
really what
to
you're doing, you're being quite specific, really.
understanding who your audience is.
Yep.
And you know, if what they're looking for is wooden Venetian blinds, tell them about those, because then you'll convert. So people say, well, I tried Google, it didn't work.
Yep.
I got loads of clicks, but nobody bought. That's not a Google problem. That's a landing page and conversion problem. You're not delivering the right information. So the more specific you can be about your audience, the higher your conversion will be. And that's often then about doing the hard work, because you know, if you're in the blinds business, there might be 40 kinds of blinds. It may mean you've got to have 40 specialist pages.
Listen, is there a way that we can sum what we've just already said up, do you think, in so many ways?
Well, the sum it up is that everybody needs to understand what their marketing funnel is, and they need to have a CRM system to support it.
I'm going to write this down. So I'm going to write it down. So they've got to understand your audience.
Understand your audience.
Yep.
Understand your messages to your audience.
Understand your messages.
Then understand what media is right for you. And you need more than one. You need about a dozen different ways in which you can find those.
Different ways.
Yeah. And that's the top part
That's
of our
the top
funnel
bit.
here. You've then got to understand, what does that funnel look like for you? And it look very different for a business consultant than it will for someone selling Venetian blinds. So you have to understand, for me it's about webinars and events. For them it might be more about letters.
So these are the different mechanics that we're going to be doing for the opt-ins.
Exactly, so different kinds of things. So they need to understand what their funnel looks like. The problem for most people is they will struggle with that.
And then
they've
got to understand about nurture. They've got to understand that just because somebody comes to your website doesn't mean they're going to buy.
Yeah, and I tell you, the thing that comes up most frequently is, oh, I don't want to be, you know, become a pest sending people emails all the time. And I can't, how many people do I know? And I say, so how frequently do you contact your list? Oh, once a quarter.
How frequently do you contact yours? Once a week?
At least once a week. I've got a couple of campaigns running at the moment. So a lot of
Does
my
it bother you when people come off the list?
No, not at all. In order to attract people, you've got to risk repelling. You know, I talk and people go, oh, you were so human. Who's right?
So I'm going to give you a break for just a moment. I'm going to let you just relax, because I tell you what, it's been worth just listening. I mean, there are absolute gems there. I mean, there are times that, you know, my job is to sit here and to ask your questions. I mean, I may you already know what Vanessa is going to be talking about, but the thing that's important is if I ask the right questions on your behalf, then hopefully you're going to get the right information out to help your particular business. even for me, when I hear it again and again and again, it still always sounds very refreshing. The fact that you've got to understand who you're actually selling your product, your service to, the fact that you know who your audience are, it's fundamental. The moment you know that gives you an opportunity then to actually do something with them, to actually, you can then make your marketing work for them. It isn't about you, remember, it's about them, feeling their pain, I suppose. We had Paul Glynn on the programme a few weeks back, and that's what he was saying. He was saying, feel your customers' pain. They should be closing for you. You shouldn't have to be doing any closing. They should be closing for you, because what you've done, you've identified the pain that they're going through, what they need, and you've identified it to them, and you've gone, there you go. How much is it worth to you for me to fix your problem? And it does work. Identify the audience. I'll tell you something else that I do want to talk about just while we're sitting here just for a few moments is this. You can feel our pain, in fact. Why don't you come along to this amazing event that's going to be taking place? It is the Business Show 2014, 27th and 28th of November. It's going to be at Olympia. It's going to be a fantastic event. We're looking forward to being there ourselves. We're going to be on stand 320, if my memory serves me right. We're going to be broadcasting for the 2 days. We're also going to be talking to the keynote speakers who are going to be there. Brad Burton's going to be there. Richard Reed, we've got James Kahn, is going to be there as well. Rachel Headland, Clive Rich. Look at all the names. Look at David Gold, Clive Rich. They're all there, all the big names. It's all about money, but it's all about giving you the advice that you need. It's going to be great. 25,000 businesses are going to be turning up, 250 seminars, 350 exhibitors, 12 workshops, and it's free to attend. If you want to get your tickets, all you've got to do is go to our website. You'll find there's a little logo sitting on our website. Let me just see if I can pull our website up just for a moment, if I can find it. Here it is. It's sitting over here. Oh, there's Vanessa. We'll just go down the page. There we are. Just click down here, the Business Show 2014, stand 302. And as I said, we're going to be streaming the event live. We've got a roving reporter who's going to be turning up at the event. We're going to be going around, going to be talking to the exhibitors. We're going to be talking to and interviewing the keynote speakers. If you can't make it to the event, what you can do is you can simply come to Business Connections Live. You can watch it on your PC, your laptop, on your phone, wherever you are, and you can actually get the feel of the exhibition. Maybe if you want, you can use it on day one to plan your visit on day two. Thursday, Friday, it is well worth going to. I think you can have a lot of fun at the particular event. I'll just get the page up one more time. There it is. It is the Business Show 2014, 27th, 28th of November, at Olympia in London. Network with 25,000 other businesses. It's going to be a fantastic event, fantastic 2 days, and we look forward to having your company there. And do come along and say hello, won't you? Are you going to go? Are you going up to that one?
I'm afraid I'm not going to be there. I'm busy. I have some other commitments. Well, yeah.
All right then. Let's move smartly on, because I think we've talked a lot about the marketing aspect, but we are also here to talk a little bit about the money. Well, yes, show me the money.
Well, I think the important thing is, I can talk all week about how people should do marketing. It doesn't make it any easier for people. And I think what's particularly good at the moment is the government are offering some money. So it's a scheme called the Growth Voucher. Unfortunately, I think it's a bit of a well-kept secret.
Aren't many? So many of them are, aren't they?
But I've been on a one-woman crusade to put that right. So there are essentially 5 growth vouchers. It's £2,000 you can get. It's match funded, so you've got to be prepared to spend 2 to get to. But there are 5 growth vouchers. We've got financial advice, so it's to do with your funding and what have you, recruitment, digital technology and leadership. But the most important one is marketing. Now, I know I would say that, but in truth, if you look at those 5 subjects, there's only one there that's focusing on putting money on the bottom line. And the reality is over 50% of the vouchers that are being given out are for marketing. So, I think it's being borne out that that's where people just don't have the skills and they need the help. So,
and what aspects of marketing are we talking about? Are we talking about?
Well, it has
are we talking about everything from websites all the way through?
Well, it's marketing strategy, so it's advice. So right. you can't pay for your website or pay for your Google advertising. So it's advice. But what I think is really good about it is it's it is very simple to apply compared to some past schemes that had a lot of red tape. It's actually quite a simple process to apply. However, I genuinely do recommend people come through my site, because I have made it super easy for people and explain.
And this is this site
Well,
here.
yes, if they come to it's www.growth-voucher.co.uk.
Is it that one or is it this one here?
It's the growth voucher. Yeah, that one.
Oh, the one that we're looking at.
Yeah.
There we go.
So if they come there and they'll get an email. They'll get presented with a video that explains it all, and the webinar that I've done and so forth. That just makes it easy for them and tells them exactly what's going to happen, because you know what the government stuff's like, it's a bit dry, doesn't really explain it terribly well. However, but once they've got the money, so unfortunately 1 in 4 people won't get the money. It's a research project. So in order to get some statistics, they need a control group. So randomly, 1 in 4 people won't get it. The good news is 3 in 4 do.
Right.
Interesting, I was one of the ones that didn't. So
Really?
which is slightly ironic, I would say.
But I mean, it's fascinating, and I think you're right about the different grants that are available. We got this this particular laptop with sustainability roots.
Oh, wow.
And so we approached them. You had to put together your case to get the money, and they price matched, and that meant that actually that really helped our business.
Yeah. But in this case, you don't have to put any case at all. You essentially need to show that I have a need for these kinds of skills, and my ability, my personal ability is quite low. So where you show the biggest gap between what you need in terms of expertise and your own skill set, that's where you'll be awarded the voucher. So you get the voucher, and you then contract direct with the marketing consultant or whomever. So there's nobody in government telling what sort of advice. You don't have to have it approved. You don't have to submit the plan. So at that point, you then deal direct and get what you need. So, I've got a very focused programme that supports people through that, and I've done a huge amount this year, which has been really exciting. So, I talk about inspiring and empowering people. So we do both. We spend a lot of time inspiring people, getting them excited about their marketing, and then some time making them change some habits and really making this stuff happen in their business.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, you've inspired me tonight. I think a lot of what he said is absolute great common sense. I think a lot of people don't stand back. They don't look at their marketing strategy in an intelligent way. They wing it. They
that's
pray
the whole
that
point.
It's gonna be okay.
Whether it's me or whomever it may be, we'll go through with it and just show you. It's as much about an education as it is about giving you the strategy. Okay, I get it now. That's what that means, and then they can go, because you can't master it all. My job is to help them master the 4 or 5 most important things that are going to make a difference. And when they've mastered them, then we can start something else. But what you see is people dabbling. They're trying lots of things, dabbling, doing none of it well, not getting the results, and they get stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated. And it's not helpful.
Let's look at step 2, shall we? Because you're running the Vanessa Lanham-Day Mastermind for ambitious entrepreneurs who are deadly serious about transforming their business in 2015. Once again, nice video you've got sat sitting on there, a little bit about the people that have turned up, also turning heads, you writing on the board.
Yeah,
people love this, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they love to sit down because they're sharing ideas and they've been inspired by other people, and they realise, I suppose, in this environment that maybe the problems or the issues that they have are shared.
Exactly. But masterminding is an interesting idea. And it was invented essentially by Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich. Although, to be truth, you cannot think and grow rich. You have to do something, which actually is what masterminding is about.
Most people just grow old.
But it's this idea that it's 1 and 1 equals 3. A collection of people together create much more interest and ideas. And I've been running Mastermind today. But so on the one hand, you get lots of ideas and this sense that that everybody raises their game and people become more confident, more ambitious, and saying, do you know what, I could do that. But I think that the most important thing it achieves is accountability. So we meet every 2 months, and they will set quite stiff commitments. People get very enthusiastic on the day. They will have written their commitments, and who wants to be the one that turns up in 2 months' time not having done the stuff? Now, interesting, a lot of people...
They'll be hiding behind the curtains.
Well, exactly, and in truth, stuff gets in the way, and no one's going to have any recriminations, but for their own self-respect, people want to say, okay, maybe I didn't do that, but actually this opportunity came up instead, and this is what we've done. And then people add value. But there's a lot of free masterminds, and I've actually been a member of one myself. So yes, it's great, a collection of people, and they support each other. But in truth,
just looking down here, so the deadline 2015 is November. Obviously, that's one that's coming up at the moment.
But in truth, the difference between mine, because mine ain't free. I mean, I make no apology for that, because actually the difference between a free and a paid for is I'm not part of it. I facilitate it, and they get a lot of expertise. We have another expert, but there is something about if you've paid for something and it's been a significant sum, you're going to take it seriously. People don't make that kind of investment and then don't live up to the expectation. And the results we receive are extraordinary. They get a huge value for it. They get a lot of my time. They get coaching in between and so forth. But what it does is it changes people's behaviours. Over a course of a year, you see people kind of exponentially changing and raising their game and making the stuff happen. And you compare that to being sat at, at your home office on your own, late at night, how the hell does this work?
Well, this is amazing.
It just changes stuff.
This testimonial that you've got to learn. I've been part of Vanessa's mastermind group for 6 months now, and it's been the most radical shift in thinking I've had about my business since I started over 9 years ago. This is a great line here, and this is what we were just saying. Being in a room with 7 other business owners plus Vanessa means that I have my own board of directors who will advise me on the best route forward for my business. It truly is praise indeed, isn't it? And let's just have another quick look at Leslie Howes, director of the Car Network. The Power of Vanessa's they're going to like this. Do tell them that they were mentioned, won't you? The Power of Vanessa's Mastermind Group is not just about being in a room with like-minded people for an entire day, really focusing on our business. The value of the ideas that come out of it, or being stretched and supported by fellow masterminders. It is the accountability to the group that has tremendous power and kicks procrastination into touch.
Yeah. It works. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And it's supported because it's not just about coming along to the meetings. It's kind of, well, okay, you've made those commitments. Let's not get back in 2 months' time and discover you didn't know how or you got derailed in some way. So there is in-between coaching so that, we make sure they stay on track and we find the knowledge. So I support them a lot. But it's just been really interesting. It's been a privilege, actually, real privilege to work with people. So we're just recruiting now for 2015. I'm going to be having 2 groups running this year. We are probably 75% through. We've got a few more people to bring over the line. So if anyone is interested in having a truly supported, implementation-driven approach to 2015, really happy to talk to them.
It wasn't meant to be an ad, and I must admit from reading that, the thing that comes over is that it is helpful to these businesses and they get a real benefit out of it. Now, listen, I don't know where the hour's gone, you. I mean, have you taken a breath? Oops, there we go. Here we go. This is it. I pulled my lead out. I'll plug it back in again. There we go. What we're going to do, I'll just turn you down for a moment. I've got the little red jumping ball.
It's the video from the top.
Yeah, there we go. Don't worry. There we are. It's all gone quiet. That was lucky, wasn't it, eh? I love it when it all goes well, don't you? It wouldn't be the same, would it, if it didn't? Listen, before I'm going to invite Vanessa just to give you some takeaways from tonight's programme. An opportunity maybe to get your pen and paper out. In fact, get your pen and paper out. What we're going to do, we're going to write down a few of the takeaways, straight down the lane she's going to do this. We're going to tell you a little bit about what you should be doing and considering about your marketing strategy, what you should be doing there. A little bit about the Growth Accelerator. And if you want to maybe move your business forward just a teeny weeny bit, why you should be talking to Vanessa Lanham-Day and finding out about her different courses and presentations that she does, particularly this one here, because I think the mastermind, could be absolutely perfect for you and your business. Just before Vanessa does that, can I just remind you, if you are watching us at the moment, please just go down the bottom of the screen and fill in a little form there, sign up to our list. And then, if you don't mind, just press too many things, you see, giving them too many choices. Press that little button that's sitting on the screen here to subscribe. We'd like you to subscribe so that way we can actually tell you when the next program's coming out and what it's going to be about. You'll pick it up on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, wherever it's going to be. And both Vanessa and myself have been tweeting avidly all the way through the day. It's quite interesting. I use some of the key points that we picked up from Vanessa when she sends over her program form. And what was lovely about it, I've never seen this before, I tweeted something and then you tweeted a correction. And I'm also going to be talking about. So I said one thing, she said something else, and I hope you found it really useful. But for me, I think marketing, understanding your audience, understanding your customer, how you capture those names, how you turn them, how you nurture them. Isn't it lovely to be nurtured? Oh, I just love being nurtured. And then all of a sudden, you'll go, do you know what? I need that. Who am I going to get it from? I'll get it from Vanessa. It's all about that conversion of your potential customers. Bring them into your Venus flytrap, as we mentioned earlier on. Give them something and then nurture them, look after them, and one day they'll be customers, and hopefully that'll bring you profit and growth for your business. Supercharge your marketing and your business growth. Going to invite Vanessa now to, I'm going to pull the screen down a little bit, straight down camera one. I'm going to ask you to sit up straight. That's it. Take a breath. Look down camera number one and say who you are, and just deliver the lines that we really need to hear, so that if we remember nothing else, these will be the words that we will remember. Take that breath. The airways are yours.
Hello there, I'm Vanessa Lanham-Day. I've been talking about marketing today. The most important thing you can do is take control of your marketing. Don't have a hope and pray strategy. So that means you need to understand who your audience is in a lot of detail. And you may have more than one audience, and that's okay, just don't have too many. When you know who they are, think about really carefully what you do for them, what they are really buying from you. It'll be lots of different facets. A lot of them will be quite emotional. And when you know that stuff, then think about what your media is, and you'll spend your money much more wisely. You won't be wasting money in stray advertising and so forth, much more focused. Understand about your marketing funnel, what it needs to look like for you, and it'll be different for every business. Marketing consultants with small numbers at the top, Amazon, huge numbers at the top, very different. So understand what that looks like for you. And if you need some help with that at the moment, the Growth Voucher is the perfect vehicle for you. Go out and find out how you can get some money. And the guys have given my website here, so really happy to help anybody that wants to know about that.
Fantastic. I'm just writing down, don't forget the Growth Voucher.
You called it Growth Accelerator just now, and it's a different scheme.
It is a different scheme. I know. I'm sorry about that.
That's another correction.
I consider myself being told. She's very bossy, isn't she? Lovely to have you with us, as always. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's program. It's been really, really an insight. We do it all again next week at 7 o'clock. On next week's show, though, our guest is Hilary Bryant, Operations Manager at the Prism Group in London. What do? They do the business show. They're going to come and tell you a little bit about the show, why you should be going, how best to maximise your visit to the show. If you are an SME, if you are a small business and you're thinking about going up to Olympia at the end of the month, how do you get the most out of that day? Whatever you do, don't go up there and go, don't know what I'm going to be doing. Where shall I go? Who shall I look at? Who shall I talk to? I'll bring a handful of cards with me. Have a plan. Have a plan. Who do you need to be talking to up there? Have some idea about what you want to achieve out the day. Make the day really work for you. As we said, there's something like 25,000, get it right, 25,000 SMEs, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs up there. You've got some fantastic keynote speakers. It's going to be a fantastic event. Hilary Bryant's going to tell you how you can maximise your return on that. And that happens on next week's programme. And from us here this evening, well, you know what? That practically wraps it all up. Vanessa, it's been an absolute pleasure
having
you with us.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
having me.
much. Would you come back again?
Oh, I might.
Because I don't know if we'd be able to keep it quiet. Listen, thank you ever so much indeed. And from me, Steve Hyland, and all the team that are here this evening, have a great week. See you next week at 6.